So within this presentation, I'm going to take you through how the biology curriculum is designed from Key Stage 3 all the way through to Key Stage 5. However, before I start to take you through our curriculum design, I want to take you through our departmental vision of what science should be for our students and for our teaching staff. We simply want our students to love biology. And there's really only one way that we can successfully do this, and this is to create a culture of discovery. Our curriculum is very practical strong. We don't want them reading from crusty old textbooks or just copying notes from a PowerPoint presentation. We actually want them to investigate scientific ideas, undertake experiments and draw their own conclusions. With respect to the teaching staff vision, we just really need to be aware that we are a part of an awesome team. And I really feel that sometimes we forget how good we are actually as a department. But our vision as a department is to always be raising the profile of science within the SAST itself and beyond to the wider community. So what we have here is a breakdown of Key Stage 3, 4 and 5 by topic. And our biology curriculum is designed by putting the bedrock of ideas for the key themes in Key Stage 3, expanding upon those bedrock ideas in Key Stage 4, and then taking those ideas and then exploring them across a wider range of topics in Key Stage 5. So when they come in Year 7, the first topic they'll do is tissues and transplants, and this is looking at organisms from the cellular level to the whole organism itself. And then this theme of sort of like how organisms are constructed from cells will then thread through into Key Stage 4 and then into Key Stage 5. So that theme will follow all the way through. Our entire curriculum follows that same sort of format. So if we look at the first topic they do in Year 8, which is science fiction, it's basically looking at genetics and inheritance. And then when they move on to Key Stage 4, they will look at that genetics in Year 10 in a lot more detail, doing genetic crosses, looking at multiple alleles and so on. And then when they move into Key Stage 5, genetics will be threaded through multiple topics. I have just highlighted a couple of them here. So with this section here, I just want to take one of our themes they start in Key Stage 3 and begin to explore how it changes and the degree of complexity increases as they move on into Key Stage 4 and then 5. So as previously we were discussing the idea of cells, when they come in Key Stage 3, one of their first lessons in Year 7, they are literally just labelling the main features of cells. That would be plants and animal cells. Then when they come into Key Stage 4, they will expand this knowledge on cells and they will begin to introduce more components of cells and then begin to look at how the cells are different in light microscopes and electron microscopes. And as they then move into Key Stage 5, the degree of detail that they need to know about cells is absolutely massive in comparison to what they have done historically. When designing the biology curriculum, obviously we need to take the practical skills into account. As we have highlighted, we want our students to have this culture of discovery, which, as I've already mentioned, is highly practical based. Within science, our practical skills are referred to as how science works. And everywhere in the curriculum where you see the letters HSW, it's referring to the practical elements of it. What I'm going to show you very briefly are the practical skills required with cells and microscopy from Key Stage 3, 4 to 5. There's quite a lot of text that's going to come up. I'm not asking you to read the text, it's just there if you want to refer to it a bit later on. But if we look at the how science works skills for cells and microscopy in Key Stage 3, there aren't many skills that they need to be able to do. It literally is, can they construct a slide, can they use a microscope, and can they produce some basic annotated diagrams of what they can see under the microscope. Now, in order to develop these skills, they will encounter the multiple points in Key Stage 3 where they'll practice, re-practice to try and polish those skills. As they move into Key Stage 4, can you see just by the specification points you've got there, you see it's a bit more comprehensive. Now here they're going to expand on their microscopy skills because they have got to take in relative size to it. So they've got to be able to appreciate the relative size of different cells, and they've got to link in standard form to do that. And when they are using a microscope this time, it's not just a case of looking at a cell under a microscope, labeling up, doing a drawing. They would actually have to use, a stage micrometer and an eyepiece graticule to actually calculate the actual sizes of the components that they can see in the cells under the light microscope. So technically there's a lot more going on here. In particular, the increased levels of the mass demands is quite significant. And as they move into key stage 5, again, the amount of stuff they are expected to be able to do is, again, a lot more than you've seen in the key stage 4. So as you can see again here, we've got our main topics across the key stages. I've tried to coordinate by colour how the different themes thread through the key stages. So if you look at a key stage 3, there are 8 what I'd call key topics, which I've separated out by colour, and as you move into key stage 4 and 5, you will see those same 8 colours showing how that these topics are interlinked across the key stages. Our curriculum is designed by comprehensive academic calendars that we have for every single year group from year 7 to year 13 that are all coherently interlinked. So if you look at this academic calendar here for year 13, can you see when you initially looked at the topics in year 13, it looked like it was a bit content light? That is because we have loaded more of the content earlier on in year 12. So when we come to year 13, we can plan actual time to revisit the curriculum and a lot of time for revision. Now, this calendar here is this year's academic calendar for year 13, and we actually start our revision a little bit later than we typically would do. That is because if you look round about sort of February, March time, we are revisiting content that was taught in lockdown. So we've lost a little bit of revision time, but it's essential we review the work that the students have done at home. So our academic calendars allow, our curriculum to be completely dynamic. It's always being redesigned, it's always being redeveloped. So an absolute minimum, these interlinked calendars are updated annually, for all of our year groups, all of our key stages. But actually, it's not just annually these are updated. If we look at this biology calendar now, this is my earlier version of the calendar, but it's actually been updated more recently than that because I've had to rearrange some of the topics, and I've also made some changes for PPEs and put on exam dates and so on. So our curriculum, although we've got our plans across 3, 4 and 5, our calendars allow us to have that fine tuning of the curriculum from every academic year. Obviously, we know our biology curriculum is not a lone entity. We liaise very regularly with other subject areas to see how their curriculum can be interlinked with ours. So, for example, we regularly have discussions with psychology because there's quite a lot of overlap there. We regularly have conversations with PE because there's a lot of overlap between the biology and the sports studies. But even other subjects such as mathematics, we will discuss mathematics when they will do certain skills at certain times to see how that can aid the development of our curriculum. For example, if we're looking at graphing skills and they have not encountered intensive graphing skills until a certain point in maths, we can allow our curriculum to reflect what they have done historically in other subject areas. We also need to consider our curriculum beyond that of the Gryphon School. So if we look here, this is a screenshot from our A-level biology induction booklet where we're sort of like highlighted to our students where the biology curriculum can eventually take them. So when you look at the diagram here on the left-hand side and all the bubbles, you've got all the sort of like career possibilities that are linked to biology, but we also emphasise that biology skills are perfectly transferable to other areas. So if you look here, due to the observational skills and the interpretation skills that are associated with biology, these are really strong skills that can be interlinked to things like law, accountancy and history. Well, that's me done. I hope you're a little bit more familiar of how we've designed our biology curriculum, and thank you for listening.